The big story for the day is this one.
And that is where I need your support. As for me, I don't like reporting too many things to the police. I don't want a situation whereby we'll put in place a police team, we'll go arrest people, and then they go to the police station and they find their own means and they are back on the street. That would be a waste of time and resources for me. So I have my own democratic military style, which I'll be implementing. When we say leave this space, and you don't leave this space, and I get there, I am not lucky, and my boys are with me, there and then, we'll beat you. There, in the middle of a doom. If you're not lucky, if I'm alone, you'll be lucky. But if I'm there, and my 10 boys are in their pickup with me, with their hips, trust me, we'll beat you. If you don't want to experience that kind of situation, do that which is right and which is lawful. This is Otumfuo's city. This is the Asantehene city. This is the garden city of West Africa. We have to preserve its image. And I am here to work to satisfy the city for Otumfuo. And I want to ensure that this city looks like Otumfuo's city. And when we talk to you, and we implore on you to adhere to that which we all do, and we can all have peace, and you want to let the job become difficult for me, I will let your body feel the difficulty that you are giving to me. So when it gets to that period, please don't sit on your radio station and say that Akwawe or Basa to training and all those things. Please, it is all aimed at.
So that was Richard Boedi, the mayor of Kumasi, speaking there. It was at a press briefing. All right, now beyond the issue of beating, so there's another issue here. So he actually had a long press briefing. Here's another angle of what he said. This is the mayor, the Modern Ghana website. Any stray animal found will be apprehended, sent to the prison yard to prepare food for inmates. Kumasi Mayor warns. Story by Francis Appiah. He says, the mayor of Kumasi, Richard Oforiajiman, has warned livestock owners within the metropolis to prevent their animals from straying, effective May 1, 2025. As part of the assembly's efforts to decongest the city, he said any stray animal found will be captured and used as feed. Actually, it should be food, not feed. Food for prison inmates. He explained that these stray animals pose public health threats, leading to diseases, accidents, and unsanitary conditions from their droppings on the streets, as well as causing damage to lawns. Richard Oforiajiman, who was overwhelmingly confirmed by the assembly on April 10, after being nominated by the president, issued this warning during his first media engagement on Monday. Quote, from May 1, 2025, any stray animal found within the jurisdiction of Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly will be apprehended and sent to the prison yard as food. I urge all livestock owners to keep their animals in barns and stables. During the media engagement, Honorable Oforiajiman also outlined measures to further decongest the city, including ban on selling on road medians. KMA will not permit anyone to sell on road medians after the Easter celebration. The assembly will arrest and prosecute anyone who ignores the warning, and their goods will be confiscated. All these measures are aimed at cleaning the city, which has been overwhelmed with filth. Comprehensive measures to address the decongestion exercise will be announced by the assembly soon. So on the point of arrest and prosecute, I have no problem. Correct. On the point of even catching the animals, I'm 50-50. But on beating human beings, I'm 100% against. As for the animals, you can get a court order to say, look, from a particular date, if you catch your cow on the street,
if you are feeding the
we will arrest the cow.
Say the prisoners will have a feast.
I think that as for that one, I agree.
The prisoners will feast.
As for that one, I don't think there's a problem with it. In fact, if you haven't finished dealing with stray animals, what business do you have beating people? You have stray animals walking and droppings all over the city. You have kept them there. Then you are using force to beat human beings. I think the mayor was excited. And I'm sure upon reflection today, he will not say the same thing he said. Because knowing Kumasi radio stations, I'm sure this morning is blazing. Like, I'm sure this morning, Charlie, he's hot.
You think so?
I think so.
That he's hot?
People will be criticizing him. Well-meaning people.
That he's to be blazing.
You don't think you think people in Kumasi will you can't talk to people like that.
Did he insult anybody?
Or see, if he said if I catch you selling and I'm with my boys, we'll beat you. You can't talk to people like that.
After the grace period.
Yes.
So context.
1st May.
So a grace period has been given.
By what law? By his declaration at the press conference.
No. But the story just read said that they are going to announce modalities.
He's saying that, and including catching cows and
yes. So they are going to
eat.
announce. So we will wait to hear what is in the announcement.
But there's no announcement that can validate beating people on site. There's not. Is it? There's nuance here. We see where he's going. Some of the things he said, like we will arrest you and prosecute you. That's what he should have said from the beginning.
But he said that.
But why did he say that he will beat people and that when he's with
He
his
says
boys?
he doesn't like police things.
I mean,
That might be long.
How can the
story.
mayor of a city say he doesn't like police?
Catch instant justice.
He doesn't like police. So
he says he doesn't.
even
like
the concept
reporting people to the police too much.
The concept of my boys should not come from his mouth.
Yeah, maybe poor choice of words.
His boys.
City guards. City guards.
You know what that even suggests? That he can have people who can do anything he wants. Why should the mayor be talking like that? And you're telling me Kumasi Radio will be happy today with him? If they are happy, then they deserve him.
But that is why he was unanimously passed.
Well,
was he not?
I think
You see, the thing is this, Bernard. I don't live in Kumasi. Kumasi people know their problems and the frustrations they have with it. And as to whether they are at their wit's end with the problems that they are facing, to perhaps necessitate the kind of comments we heard from the mayor, that is up to the residents of Kumasi. Again, it's fair for us to sit here and say some of the things he said perhaps should not come out, should not be said by somebody in his position, at least publicly.
correct.
In a private meeting.
Did you even think about it privately?
No, but I told you that this morning I have whipped 8 people in my head on my way to
But
work.
that's in your head. You shouldn't even discuss it privately.
Oh no, but I would have discussed it with you. Anyway.
But we are not public officials.
We are sort of.
We don't have power to do anything. He
Yes.
has power. He can't use it to beat people.
Hold on, let me make my point. So
Go
he
ahead.
understands the frustrations of the city he's in and what he has to deal with. Again, like I'm saying, perhaps he could have chosen his words a bit better. Some of the points he did not need to express publicly. There's a task to be achieved. As to how he will achieve the task legally is what we will judge him by. The effectiveness of that, the lawfulness of it is what we will judge him by. But in the end, what we will look at for was he effective? What was the impact of what he came to do? Was he able to decongest a city? Was he able to do A, B, C, and D? And I do take note of the points yourself, and I will assume the points Sky will also make on the basis of law, that we are a country of laws.
Yes.
And once we have said that this is what we want to do, everybody must be under the law, and whatever action you want to take must be lawful. If it is not, there isn't yet a law for it, make one for it.
I'll come to you to explain the point about what type of city management we need, because I think the bigger issue is that people are frustrated with the way our urban areas are managed.
Yes.
And therefore, you can understand why a mayor may want to use such drastic measures, because people feel the frustration. Things are not working.
Also because there might be the need to send out a message of deterrence,
And that
immediately.
No business as usual.
So that somebody might say this might be a tactic. However misplaced that tactic was, to try and get it to people's heads that this particular mayor will not be one who will tolerate
Indiscipline.
indiscipline and flouting of city bylaws again. So we'll wait to see how it's done. But you must also understand a lot of the messages that have been sent.
To ask you that. Why are people? A lot of comments seem to suggest that he's right.
Not necessarily.
And it worries me.
Because
it worries me.
Because here's the thing. There have been several attempts at changing the faces of our cities. Some have worked, some have not worked. I always ask you the question, what is the most successful municipality or district that we have? Which one would we name?
It's a tough
and,
question.
And say, this has made an impression, or this has done a job that is long lasting, or this is the template that can be taken. Can we take what has happened in Ho and say this happens? Because everywhere has different problems.
It's difficult to even compare across
You understand?
cities. Or
But
towns.
what is clearly problematic for the significantly cosmopolitan, significantly larger cities, Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takrady, is they have a planning problem, they have a congestion problem, and they have a lawlessness problem.
They also have a leadership problem.
Exactly. Oh, they have a leadership problem. Also because there's a significant concentration of the, and strangely, that is where you have a significant concentration of the better educated populace.
Supposedly.
Yes.
Formal education.
Yes. Practicing, living, working. So the question then becomes, why is it that we struggle to make these areas work?
Good question.
History also is a good place to fall on.
Okay.
To say, we might make reference to the law, but most of the cities that we admire today, Accra is not an old city. It's not a what we call an old city. Accra is pretty young in terms of cities across the world. There are cities that are 500 years old,
Timbuktu.
600 years old. There are cities that are 350 years old. Accra, in its current form, perhaps is 120 years old.
Yeah.
It's a pretty young city. By city,
Actually, 100 a little more.
Yes, 120, 125,
Possibly.
perhaps. Formal Accra, that is. Those cities developed on the back of some pretty dark things that were done.
But Kumasi is an ancient city.
Again, yes, but
Kumasi is much older.
much older than Accra
in terms of
its formal boundaries and
Yes.
whatever. But I'm just talking as a city in the modern construct.
Go ahead.
A lot of the cities we admire
They do things we don't
were
like.
built on the back of significant leanings on certain personal rights.
See, you are looking for words now.
No.
See, you are looking for words.
No, I'm not looking for words. We're on radio.
I know.
I always choose my words
But
carefully.
you have to be very careful.
Yes. So it becomes pretty hard to say, well, a young city that is developing can simply develop along the lines of, the law says A, B, C, D. And I know a lot of people will be looking at me and saying, Godfred, what are you saying? Land planners refer to housemen. Everybody likes France, right? Everybody likes Paris. Or Paris, as they say.
Not everybody.
No, I'm just saying. They are very. You will not
Fine,
meet.
it's an admired city.
You will not meet two people who tell you
Let me
that
put it this way.
it is not
If you look at
a
the
model
if
city.
you look at the record, it's one of the most visited cities in the world.
Why?
So tourism, people go to Paris a lot.
Yes.
It's the city of love. It's the city of whatever.
Why?
They positioned it well.
Yes, but there was a 13-year project that basically rebuilt the entire city.
Okay.
Left thousands in the lurch. Redesigned the city, decongested the city because it was a city struggling with cholera.
All right.
It was a city struggling with epidemics. It was a city struggling with poor sewage systems.
What year are you talking about?
Oh, this was Napoleon's period.
Okay.
Long time ago in Bethlehem.
history
Napoleon was
matter.
not a Democrat.
Yes, but that is the point I am making. You see,
He's saying that historically,
He
some of the
is
cities.
easily one of the most vicious
No, Sky.
No.
dictators ever.
Let him finish the
to
point.
many people.
No,
And
no,
history will bear that out.
He's
No.
saying that
your
the
appreciation
city
of
you
that
see-
history is flawed.
The city we
Well,
see
I disagree with
today.
you.
Your
No,
appreciation of that
let's
history is flawed.
let's stay on course. Let's stay on course. Let's stay on course.
Then
you're not
we would-
coming to sit here to romanticize.
No, I am not
what
romanticizing.
dictators, in the past,
you're
they
out of
built
order.
their cities. No, completely objectionable.
You are out of order.
I find that completely
Sky,
unacceptable.
you are a man of
I am
rules.
building an argument.
Allow me to manage the show.
Up until we will get to the most admired one of all, Lee Kuan Yew, your own favorite. You know him more than I do. You are saying,
He's also not necessarily a Democrat.
You are
He's
saying,
also a dictator.
But I don't
He
think
was.
You are saying, The construct that is modern Singapore was not born out of what Lee Kuan Yew is not somebody one would call your model dictator. No.
Yeah.
But laws were made that if
benevolent dictator.
Yeah.
what was called soft authoritarianism
Yes.
in certain elements of the development of the modern Singapore and certain aspects of it. I will go
in
to.
fact, when you go there, they will read to you that if you come with drugs, in fact, if you even chew chewing gum, they will lash you.
Yes.
If you spit on the ground, they will lash you. And that lashing, is not arbitrary. It's the law. You see, this is the thing I'm saying.
Which one?
You see, let's take it.
Let me
The
bring my
law
points.
is that if you do it, we will lash you. And they are trained lashes. And they aim at a particular part of your betek.
No,
And they give so
constitutional
I
will give Sky all the
see,
time.
my problem with the Kumasi guy is that he is arbitrary. No,
Yes,
Sky.
boys.
I'll come to you. You
We
have a lot of time.
don't have to.
No.
It's a matter that
No.
should not even be
It is
debated.
no.
It is
But
debate
why?
Sky, you will get your time.
If the law in the country allows
The
them to lash,
constitutional provision
Of which
is
country?
Ghana,
we are
the
talking about
Republic of
Singapore.
haven't
He-
reached
no,
that
let
yet.
him finish
Even
Singapore.
Singapore, they are not going by about
Order.
No, they will
It
lash you.
happened at a time.
No.
No. If you do it
Go
now,
to Singapore today.
Today.
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Freeman went to Singapore.
Today.
Freeman went
if you
to
flout it, you will see.
Godfred.
I don't know about
Freeman
that.
went to Singapore last 2 months or so.
If you
He
flout
said
it, you will
when you
see.
go, they will even tell you.
No, I don't know about that.
No, but you don't need to know. It's in the law.
We went there.
They read it and said.
The provisions in the Ghanaian
We are
constitution.
not.
We are not there yet.
We are coming.
Bernard,
He's making a point about global.
Bernard,
No,
Let
Sky.
us, I will not allow.
You are not the
while,
one.
while I'm seated.
What is allowable and what is not allowable is up to you.
Sky,
Is
stop.
that better?
Stop
Because you are also falling into
No,
that.
I am listening to his submission.
That beating a certain part of the bottle. No.
But that's what they do in Singapore.
If you
I
sack,
am not. No, I am not saying, Sky. I am not saying that they should be people in Ghana. I am saying that he's making a point that some of the cities that we admire, they have found a way to implement such laws. My problem with the Kumasi Mayor is that he is going outside the law. In Singapore, lashing is lawful.
I
Do you understand?
don't know about
This
that.
is you can check. You are a lawyer. You can
I
check.
can finish
You
that.
can
But-
check.
But the
You can check.
fundamental
finish?
point I'm making
You
is
haven't
that-
made your point yet.
I will let
don't
you
be-
make your point,
so
Sky.
don't even start.
No,
Take the time for you.
No.
Unless
But
then you are
Janila-
saying that because you disagree with me, I should stop talking so that you can talk.
No,
Then let me talk.
No, Sky, don't do that.
Then let me talk.
You are an officer.
But the
You are an
attempt
officer of the court.
to
Stop
glorify,
doing Stop
to
the-
celebrate,
stop.
to romanticize
Has not been.
dictatorship and an arbitrary extrajudicial whipping of people is completely unacceptable. And we must object to it with the strongest possible energy we can command.
within the rules.
It is a leap.
Within the rules.
Sky, it's a significant leap you have made.
Within the rules. Stay
There has been no romanticization
stay on point.
of
Stay on point. Don't
of those things here.
Talk.
I am making a point about unless we decide to ignore. That's why I started from France long ago and ended up at Lee Kuan Yew. I will even go to our own next door neighbor here, Benin. People visit there. You know Benin well.
His grandmother is from
When
there.
Patrice Talon took over, they had a significant problem with congestion in the major cities. Sanitation, and again, you know Cotonou and Benin well. They've never really had proper sewage facilities and all those. It's only recent. The World Bank gave them money to do that about 4 or 5 years ago that they started working on those things. Talon simply said, I am giving the leadership of all the major cities 6 months. Decongest and clear all the pavements. After the 6 months, if it is not done, we have a problem.
Wow.
Within the 6 months, they just went around, earmarked the areas. So what our assemblies normally do with the X, the red X, remove. They cleared everyone. Whether you were happy about it, whether you were not happy about it, they cleared everybody.
How did they do it? What did you think people have?
You like, don't listen to him. Just he's a lawyer. He's trying to confuse you.
They cleared everybody. The point, bottom line, I'm making is where this kind of progress has been made, it has always taken drastic action.
Okay.
Some of which we will find unpalatable if we are to go by the very dictates of our democratic tendencies.
Correct.
I have again expressed the fact that what he said should not have been said in public. What he said is not the law. So if he intends to do what he says he will do, perhaps he will have to find ways of changing his bylaws as to how he will be allowed to do that. That is another issue.
All right.
But the point I want us to appreciate this morning is, in the spirit of the larger problem we face,
Which is
telling a person,
bad governance.
yes, telling a person that don't trade at CMB in Accra does not mean the person will not trade. Even if you tell the person that at the moment, what is the fine? It is what, 50 cedis, 100 cedis. So perhaps you might be able to say, if you trade on the pavements, we will fine you 5,000 rather than 5
You
cedis.
could even get the law to confiscate their goods.
So there are somebody might sit down and say that is drastic. Even the confiscation of goods.
If it is a law.
No, but even with that, somebody might say it's draconian.
No,
then
it's a
there's-
question of
there's-
whether it's proportional.
No,
and then
you
there's
see-
redress.
no.
And there's
Who determines what is proportionality?
You see,
Well, it's
Go-
a,
go
it's
for
a,
it, go
it's
for
a-
it.
You see,
it's
that
a
is the point.
concept
No,
of
come down
rule
to.
of
but you see-
law.
No.
Even in
No.
punishing people, there should be proportionality.
So I'm saying, who will determine
The
that?
court.
No. And the subjectivity and objectivity of it will depend on who is suffering it.
It's true.
a
But that's
reasonable
why
It is not.
That's why the
It is
mayor.
not.
But that's why the
That's
mayor.
why they-
When you tell the
But see,
petty
that's why the
trader,
mayor should not say, if I see you and I'm with my boys, I will
Imagine the
beat you."
concept of
That's too
rule of law.
arbitrary.
yes, that's what I'm saying. That we have already dealt with that.
Not really.
And
We
said
are,
that,
we
look,
are going to deal with him properly.
no, we will deal with him when the implementation starts and it is still in this raw state.
I appreciate the point you've made about the history of cities and the point about how places we admire have found ways of decongesting. I appreciate the Singapore example particularly because they have found a way of making a law to be tough.
Yes, a lot of places have.
I think that if we feel frustrated with the system we have, there are lawful ways of doing it.
Yes.
And when that lawful way is done, we will all go by the law. You see, a duty bearer should not sound flippant or arbitrary or sound as if I want a word I can't find.
The flippant is fine.
He sounded very, we can do what we like. He cannot.
I think he got carried away by
Yes.
where he was
That's the
and the
point.
people he was talking to.
And then trying to use Otumfo's name to say this is Otumfo's Kumasi is neither here nor there.
I see the
Because even
right to this
Otumfo
guy now.
himself, when you are a chief who has done something wrong, they don't just cut you and start beating you. Don't they call you to the court and ask you to question? So it was for me a misspeaking. Now, those who are on air telling us that Ghanaians are lawless, no problem. When you are beaten by somebody, don't call us and tell us so. Because in Ghana, you see, usually it's easy because it's somebody else. Every time, Ghanaians are lawless. You are also lawless. As for you, when they catch you in town here, the people are being abusive. But because this other person is lawless. And these are traders. They don't have voice. Usually, they don't have access to a radio station. Because, petty trader, we are not justifying lawlessness, but you cannot sit on air. And he knew what he was doing was wrong. That's why he said, when you go on media and go and say something, we will say it. Because he knows that what he says cannot stand the test of public discourse. But there will always be people who say, Ghanaians are indisciplined. Read the comments people are sending. Very sad.
Not all of it.
A lot of it.
Not all of it.
Sky, deal with the matter before you read the comments.
Yes, I'll read the comments. Sky should go on.
You see,
Very, very many comments supporting this.
Bernard, let me say from the outset that look, we cannot allow room for any dictatorial tendency to exhibit itself fully or manifest itself fully, either through an intention or real action.
Yeah.
Because this certainly was not what our forefathers fought for. And we cannot allow that. What is the issue here? The issue here is that you have been sworn into office, confronted by a problem which you say you reset as a matter of government policy. Now, in order to reset that, there's a constitutional and legal as well as regulatory framework you work within. The first one is the 1992 Constitution. Then you have the Local Government, Act of the Republic.
And then you have
Then
your
you also
bylaws.
have your bylaws as a city.
Correct.
All of these things detail specific procedures for dealing with, breaches of the kind you are complaining about. What is the issue here? People have found themselves on the wrong side of the law, trading where they should not be trading. The former minister of Accra,
Henry Court.
Henry Quartey, used a model that did not involve the whipping of people in public as to remove them from spaces they ought not be. Of course, we are all witnesses to why that the approach failed, because of course politicians got involved. They said you were making us unpopular. Let the people do what they wanted to do, because chairman, people, loyalists of a particular political party had certain spaces to control, and therefore, because you were going after them, you are undermining our political fortunes. That was how that one failed. But that would have been a truly sustainable model, based upon what? The rule of law. Because you and I went to the polls to elect a president. My grandmother, Wenyamato, I took her to the polling station when we were voting for the 1992 Constitution. And that was my first encounter with the electoral process. And I have grown to appreciate the sacrifices she made by waking up from her sickbed and going to vote for a new constitution.
The Constitution.
And that happened after so many years of military rule.
Yes.
Where people were beaten,
In
people
market,
were killed,
publicly flogged,
women were whipped in between their legs in this country.
Shaved.
Bernard, when I came to Accra, my first years as a journalist was spent at the National Reconciliation Commission.
Aish.
Now, any young man sitting through the proceedings of the National Reconciliation Commission, for the years that it sat,
serious.
The stories that were told would have been seriously harmed psychologically by the kinds of things that people came to say.
To talk about.
And these were some of the horrendous parts of our history.
Yeah.
People were killed just for asking, why are you with my girlfriend?
Hey.
People were killed for having a number of toilets in their homes in this country. We are 68 years, aren't we?
Yes, please.
Almost half of the years that we have enjoyed our independence was spent under what? Military rule. And many would argue, and I agree to a large extent, that parts of Nkrumah's era also saw serious abuses of human rights.
These last couple of years.
Exactly. So when you pull all of that together, if indeed whipping up citizens, shooting them at the stakes, would have reformed the Ghanaian, perhaps we wouldn't be where we are today. It is simply not sustainable. That is why the framers of the Constitution say, in Article 15, for instance, that the dignity of all persons shall be inviolable. Whether the person was selling on the streets, or the person is a politician accused of stealing, or the person is a journalist asking questions, including my good friend Caleb, his dignity is regarded as inviolable unless in certain limitations, with limited circumstances where you can take away some of those things in order to exact punishment, or in appropriate cases enforce public discipline and public order. And those are in very limited, circumstances. And Bernard, Article 15.2 says, for instance, that no person, whether or not he is arrested, restricted, detained, be subjected to torture or other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment.
Yeah.
So that when you arrest someone selling at a space that you did not designate, the lawful thing to do is read the person's rights to him, tell him that he's entitled to a lawyer, haul him to the nearest police station, charge him, drag him to court, and let a lawyer represent him because he chooses that he wants that lawyer to represent him.
Simple.
The state or the city will make their case against the person. A fair-minded judge will listen to the matter and deal with it. Now, you don't sacrifice these provisions of the Constitution and say that because you don't want to deal with the police. Because in any event, the office he occupies is a creation of law. That's why when the president nominated him,
He had to go through
the people vetted him and approved him for the job.
under the law.
Yes, and he is not to be arbitrary because the Constitution says so. So we do not want to allow people who have had some, fantasies about how military regimes operate, how they operate, to now occupy public offices and seek to.
People have this sense of glorifying dictatorships. So you notice the Burkinabe president and the new presidents in these Sahelian states, people are sharing what they are doing.
Yes.
Oh, they are taking over their country's
So
minds.
much propaganda
they
happening
are
in that part
sacrificing for
of the
their
country.
people. They all start like that too. You know, and we are romanticizing dictatorships as if they are so nice.
Certainly not.
And as responsible, we will not agree because you see, this thing that people are saying that, oh, Ghanaians are stubborn. Ghanaians are stubborn. Ghanaians are stubborn. That's what leads to military adventurism.
Exactly.
Who tell the military they are even as disciplined as you think they are?
No.
Bernard, in Kumasi, though, there is a better example
Okay.
with the regional minister, Frank Amwakohine, right? He's done the Ashanti Fest, under which they've done a cleaning exercise.
Oh, it's a
Just
coda.
to
It's a coda.
corroborate
It's a coda.
corroborate
Please.
what's going
Go
on.
ahead.
You know, and in doing the cleanup exercises, he reminds the people that, you know, this is something he does through communication and gets the collaboration and buy-in of the people. No one has put a cane on the people. They are all participating in the exercises and all the initiatives that the regional minister has rolled out so far. It's not been out of compulsion. People have even put their own resources into some of the activities that the minister is pushing. And it's all how he's relating, how he's engaging, how he's speaking. He said something after their cleanup exercise, appealing to the people that, look, we have expended resources, energy, and time, human efforts to clean up these spaces that we all share. So he's appealing to them that they should ensure they keep their places as clean as they've had it. But if anyone goes beyond that to make the place untidy again, then they will face the rigors of the law. So two leaders, one is a regional minister, one is a mayor. One is appealing to the sense of pride and dignity of the people and seeking their collaboration. The other one comes and says, as for me, I don't like police and long things. If you do anything, I will beat you.
And you know, Bernard, do you know why it is dangerous?
Talk to me.
As the Metropolitan Chief Executive for Kumasi, he is the head of DISEC. That means that he is the president's head of security
in that space.
Which means that the police service is under his command. The related service, institutions that provide security for all of us, they are all under him. Now hear him. He tells us that he, as the president's lead security chief in the area, he doesn't like dealing with the police.
Hey.
I mean,
how
can you say that as the president's lead spokesperson and head of security in that part of the country? That's what he said. Just like the president of the republic, hypothetically.
Imagine saying, I don't like police.
I don't like the police, so me, I don't like dealing with the police or reporting matters to them. So once I am moving and I have my voice.
It's very dangerous.
It is the most dangerous thing that a person elected to public office, although not through.
Again, Skoda, you notice he's not the only person. In fact, and not to say it's the same, when the Ashanti regional minister was blasting the fire service guy, he said he will get his boys to move the trucks. So there's this concept of my boys.
Can you imagine?
Which political leaders move with, which I don't understand where they get them from. It's like they have some fans and some macho men or kind of thing working with them. It is completely unacceptable.
Yes.
And to now normalize it. And I'm not talking about you, Accra. I'm talking about
I know you're not talking about me.
You see, it seems like it's become normal where they move with these people to show that they are in charge.
Yes.
So a mayor cannot walk alone. He needs 10 people to walk behind him. For what? For what? Are you a king?
No.
You are a public servant.
Yes.
A public servant.
Yes.
So it's and for me, my biggest worry is the justification of this by
a lot of the comments we are getting
that Ghanaians. My question is that so you are lawful. Is the Ghanaians is the traders who are lawless? So you the one texting, you obey the law. So is the traders in Edum? I would have said in addition to your point that Henry Cote's strategy was good. Henry Cote didn't go about beating people.
He did. It's a lie.
I didn't see him.
I
didn't see.
Henry Cote supervised lashing with policemen, soldiers at Medina footbridge. Let's
what they did was that
we were here.
They prevented you from
Medina. Some force was.
I said Henry. I am telling you. I am telling you.
Me, I didn't see
Henry
that.
Cote supervised public lashing.
I didn't see it.
I'm telling you.
You can't bear this kind of
He
witness.
lashed people.
With which
No,
evidence?
Bernard, there was even a
What is
question.
evidence?
What are you talking about?
When you interviewed
What
Henry
I
Cote,
know
you
is-
asked
what
him about
I
how
know-
lawful
Henry
his
Cote was
approach was.
lashing people
If you
with
remember,
police and
in your
soldiers.
interview with him on
Ask
point
residents
view,
of Medina
you asked him
footbridge.
about how lawful his
He was
approach
lashing
was.
them.
Akoto.
What I saw was that.
We are
What I saw
already-
was that. What I saw.
So as you say, he didn't lash
No,
them.
Godfred.
Henry Cote lashed them.
No problem.
You said we should do what
problem.
he did is the model. Let's take that model. He was lashing
I'm
people.
saying that what I saw was that by the time you get there, the people are already there.
Bernard, there is a message here. They did last
but
people.
They were lashing.
That's a message.
No, you see,
Caleb, no.
I am not reading a message.
Where is the evidence?
You
If
see,
there's evidence
you
to that
can't-
effect,
why is
we
the
can
evidence
take
that
him on.
We reported on it.
That he
Where?
beats people.
CNN.
I'll go and create the video. and bring
Okay,
it.
if the
Go and
evidence
bring
is
the
the
video
producer,
that they are beating people.
let the people, because
Me, what I
they are
saw-
very
We have
damning
suddenly
serious.
forgotten.
No, what I'm saying is that
I don't know.
The residents who were lashed have forgotten they were lashed.
I know Medina. When you get to Zongo Junction, there are men standing on the roadside. If you try to cross, they say, "Hey, footbridge."
don't do that.
He's holding a stick. Hey, footbridge. So people were forced by his crowd management to climb the footbridge. You say he lashed, no problem. I'm sure people in Medina will say they lashed them. I didn't see it. Even if Henry Cote lashed, does that justify that the Kumasi Mayor must get up and say?
In fact,
Nobody has
in
made
fact, Bernard,
justification.
but
No, I'm
in
not
fact,
talking about you.
In fact, let me issue a caveat here. I have no evidence whatsoever
Neither do I.
that the former minister for the Greater Accra region did that.
I didn't think he did lash.
he did.
I heard
I
him
have not
say,
said
for
that.
example,
But if there is evidence that he did that and that he actually supervised that, then it will be lawful for him to be taken on, even after leaving office.
if there's evidence.
If provided there is
If
that
there's
evidence.
evidence.
So what I'm saying is that there cannot be any justification for the expressing of an intention
Yeah.
to arbitrarily,
Yeah.
extrajudicially beat up citizens merely because
let's
they-
use the onion market, which is what we covered. You see, for me, I want to work what I know. The onion market, we covered it. Now, Henry Cote got a group of people. There were military people involved. You can ask OJ. I don't recall anybody being beaten.
No.
They used.
They didn't.
What they did was that when they got, see, the way he strategized the thing, before he goes, they already know they are coming. And sometimes when you even see them, you know what you have to do. So he used the force of deterrence. That's what I saw. So you notice that the soldiers will go with. In fact, during the COVID period, when they were removing all the rats from the market, they usually will go at dawn. They will even engage the sellers, the traders.
Oh, yes.
You remember there were times he would speak to. You see,
Public
I'm saying that, and Henry Cote will
radio
come on
comment,
air.
yes.
He will give you a week. In fact, that's what
how
he
it
did.
should be done.
When he's coming to do the action, he will plan interviews, breakfast show, point of view. Ekosi is saying he will do all that. Then the next week they move. So what I'm saying is that the approach was inclusive and the approach was consultative. Now, of course, there are excesses and it's possible people were beaten. But I'm not going to sit here to say that Henry Cote's strategy was to say to beat on
I
site.
don't think that is
Good. I am saying that the
But
reason
there were two different situations.
no problem. Which is the Kumasi situation is vexatious because number one, he hasn't even tried anything, it doesn't work.
Yes, just 3
You
days
see,
in office or
if
even
Henry
the
Cote,
first day.
you know, number one, Henry Cote is a regional minister. You are mayor. That's number one. Number two, Henry Cote spent like 3-4 years in this position. You haven't even spent 1 month. And in your first meeting with the press,
You are threatening
you say, if I see you, I'll beat you. It is completely wrong. In fact, if he had even said, oh, we have come up with all these measures and we have all agreed collectively that if anybody does this, you understand. So he is not, the signal it sends is that he has some superior knowledge about how to govern, and for him, beating on site is the way to go. And I'm saying that right thinking people should not support this. Number two, let's not give democracy a bad name because things are not working. This is what people do. They jump from, oh, Ghanaians, baby, law, human rights. Human rights is important if it affects. If they catch you and start beating you, then human rights is important. We have bastardized democracy. The problem is that governance is poor. You have to consult. There are many dimensions of governance. There's accountability, there's participation, there's consultation, there's enforcement. You don't go through all of this. You get up and say you start beating people. Fine, people are lawless everywhere. And I do understand that there's indiscipline too. What against the discipline? Were we beating people?
No.
What were we doing?
We were around
Naming and shaming. Cameras.
Yes.
Police. When the police catch you, did they beat you?
No, they'll take you to court.
So why are we making it seem as if saying that a man should not beat people on sight means we endorse lawlessness? There's a conflict. In the same way that you said people are also jumping quickly too much. We need to have nuance. The fact that me and Sky are saying that the mayor is wrong does not mean we endorse lawlessness. Democracy is not a bad practice. No. It is we who don't do it well. What makes democracy bad is the way with the partisanship. If we would apply the law without fear or favor. Okay, let's talk about cows. You have cows working in Kumasi. You haven't even consecrated the cow. Then you are going to beat the person. If you had even said, oh, I have a law that says a stray cow. In fact, it's even lawful to catch a stray cow. That
is what the bylaws say.
The law is clear. If I catch a cow which is stray, I can catch it. You haven't finished catching cows, and you are going to beat people. So for me, I'm not even going to glorify. Anyway, you can read it, all right? Because people believe that they have a right to speak. And I'm saying that anybody who has texted this, if somebody catches you and start beating you in town, don't report to the media, because Ghanaians are lawless. And so because see. Traders don't have voice. Market women don't have voice. A lot of the people who are victims of this type of thing don't have time to even text a radio station. So you can sit in your house and say Ghanaians are lawless, so let's beat them. May it not happen to you. May you not be caught in the line of fire. May a trotro not stop you at the wrong place and they'll say you have offended and they will beat you.
Or may somebody just shout, "Hey, Julo,"
and
you find yourself in the wrong place.
And those who are appointing Sally from Amankwa, did you live through it? What nose did he leave behind? What model? You see, we like romanticizing things with anecdotal evidence. People are saying Sally for Amankwa was there.
They should go to the National Records.
Where is the Sally for Amankwa model? What is there to learn about it?
But he wasn't a mayor, was he? He was a city guard.
And almost people from a certain generation are texting me that, oh, Sally for Amankwa, when he was there, Circle was good. What's the population of Accra when Sally for Amankwa was there? You see, we have to, the same way you say we should contextualize. I prefer a model where whatever you do, you find the law to do it. Okay. Now, Frema went to Singapore. I've been to Singapore. She said when she went there, they told them that there are certain things if you do, this is the punishment. And it is written. Now, you don't support corporal punishment.
No, I don't.
In that society, they do. And they've made a law from it. Okay. So, it's not lawless to lash somebody for doing something if that is the process that the law has agreed to go through. We can't sit in Ghana and say Singapore is wrong. Okay, but we can sit in Ghana and say our mayor was wrong because he misspoke. And the reason he misspoke was maybe he means well. He wants to get Kumasi working. He wants to send the right signal. And don't forget, when the leader comes in, he wants to set the right tone. And we understand that. So you want to let people know it's not business as usual, The good thing to say this morning, call into what's the biggest station in Kumasi?
I'm sure there are quite a few.
And say to them, morning show host, yesterday I said some things. I think on reflection, I got carried away. We want to urge the people of Kumasi to cooperate with us to make Kumasi great again. We will get the right laws then we move forward. And let's attempt to justify and all these things.
But I don't think he has attempted to justify.
It's people.
Yeah, people.
It's people.
Okay.
It's people.
Please get the messages.
Read it for us, media.
Read the messages.
There is the stray animal voice to bring it up, but please.
Also, the stray animal, you said.
Yeah, that one is, yeah. Henry Korte empowered or supervised his guys to lash people at the Madina Zungo Junction. This was all over social media. You didn't add your name. Hey, Bernard. So it's true Ghanaians have short memories. People were whipped at Zongo Junction. Some were made to kneel down in the sun. The moment people started talking about human rights, they stopped.
Okay.
And the pedestrians are on the streets again from Temasenda. Tax forces holding canes at Zongo Junction, beating people. This is not to justify anything, but you are sharing what you saw.
Okay.
Please tell Sky to relocate to the Western world at once and leave our dear motherland in peace.
You will not relocate.
Dear Bernard and team, I think you do not appreciate Godfrey's comment.
Okay.
We are not justifying what the mayor said. However, if there are students crossing roads when there are footbridges available, trotro drivers parking close to bus stops and traders causing so much nuisance, it creates a difficult situation. When you try to address these issues or accidentally disturb their wares, you often face insults and aggression. David from Adenta. Why is Sky preventing a debate on the alternative solution?
That's past.
Yeah, that's earlier. Good morning, Bernard. Too many laws. We've never had too many laws have not done us any good.
Ayo.
We need to enforce moral discipline.
Ayo.
Jones Adoboy from La.
I'm marking all of you one by one.
Yes, caning, which is a form of corporal punishment, is legal in Singapore in certain offences.
Yes.
It's a specific type of lashing with a number of strokes typically limited to a maximum of 24.
And they said the strokes,
Yes.
yes. Time one side.
A buttock.
I am reading.
No, the practice is governed by the Criminal Procedure Code 2010, and only male offenders between 18 and 50 years old can be caned, provided they are medically fit. Good morning, Bernard and Co. I think the mayor is only reminding us of Salifo Amanko of Kwame Nkrumah's circle, and I think he should be assisted to do it well.
No.
But Bernard,
We should not be assisted to do it well.
we say chewing gum and not chewing gum. Okay, I don't get
Take that. We'll take that.
Chris
Yes,
from
yeah,
Shukra.
I'll
Thank you.
say something.
Right. Good morning, Bernard. I was in Kumasi yesterday. I walked through Roman Hill to Alaba. Bernard, hawkers have taken over the pavement and there is nowhere to walk. Cars are struggling. Heavy human traffic persists. Finally, everywhere is dirty with plastic materials scattered all over the place. And it stinks as well. Adams from Teshi said
Declare a
that.
day of national cleanup.
Richard, your law is
Do you
outdated.
know, hold on,
and
do you know in
ineffective.
Nigeria,
Yeah.
in Lagos, there are certain days they call sanitation. In those days, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
They found a way to get people involved in cleaning, and that day they all clean the front of their compound and they go back to work after that. There are different ways of getting people involved in trying to get things to work better. We understand the desperation about the dysfunction, but trust me, I was with some people a few days ago and they were talking about Ghana. Oh, Charlie, the politicians are the same. They are just handing over. And I said, look, you've had 30-something years of an uninterrupted constitution. You need to thank God for it. Because the First Republic didn't last for more than 10 years. Second Republic didn't last for 3 years. Third Republic didn't last for 24 months. So we are trying to work on the constitution to make it better. Sky, we have a lot to be grateful for. That 1992 constitution that we passed in 93 has seen 8 presidents. It's a lot to be thankful for.
6 presidents, 8
Yeah,
transitions.
democracy is not that bad. That you've had the chance to go and vote and to go home and sleep and watch the news and see who has become president. A president dies and in less than 3 hours he's replaced and nobody is killed. You don't know that that's important. And you sit on there and say, oh, Ghana, there, everything law. You wait till somebody infringes upon your law and there's a corrupt judicial system or there's an abusive police officer. You will appreciate rule of law. There are some things you don't appreciate until you lose it. It's like democracy. You don't appreciate until you lose it. It's like, oh, Ghanaians, they say, media for the kasa. Don't worry, we'll leave the space for you. We won't do this work forever. We'll leave it for you. Then you will come and use your martial law to run the system and see if it will get better. Let's learn from history. Let's learn from others. I appreciate the Benin example. Again, there are contexts here. Every country and the way the citizens
The
are.
Jadam regime.
Because of the dark past of military rule, Ghanaians have come to a point where they are very worried about certain types of abuses. So don't remind us of those times when you have the chance to speak as a public leader. We don't want those days. A lot of times the markets were places where people were abused,
Exactly. Market women.
accused of kalabuli, beaten for no apparent reason. Fine, don't trade on the streets. Put in place measures. You can even decide that you will put barriers so that they can't go there. It may cost us more. Don't forget there are 3 E's: engineering, enforcement, education. I think those 3 are equally legitimate. Okay? You engineer to force people to act. You educate to convince them to change. And you enforce to punish. You don't start with, let me beat you. Okay? So we are saying that, yes, Ghanaians, some of them are indisciplined. But a society run by rules should not for 1 second tolerate the kind of rhetoric the mayor put out.
And the person who is sending the message, look, you'll be surprised that a police officer will find you, just accuse you of japping the red light. Whether it's true or not, there's evidence on it. He starts slapping you left, right, and center. You say that is justified? No. We cannot encourage that. And to the people who are sending messages defending this position, I ask you respectfully, go and find the testimonies of people who appeared before the National Reconciliation Commission. Spend time to internalize their testimonies. And when you are done, you come back and tell me whether you go back to that position. Because there are many things happening in our country People are stealing our resources left, right, and center. Galamsey, one of the biggest problems of Ghana today is illegal mining. We have not even started encouraging people that they should, when they get them, they should, execute them on site. Because you will find yourself in a space where you just happen to be there.
Yep.
There should be a way of determining whether indeed you have done something that the law says you ought not have done before action is taken against you. No society that is civil would encourage a situation where people are beaten on the spot. And I've been digging through.
Before that, Caleb should read a few comments from
I just
our
want to
YouTube
mention.
stream.
Yeah, okay, I
Then
just
you
want
give
to
me the
mention.
Singapore matter.
Yeah, Singapore is a common law jurisdiction. I've been digging through their pieces of legislation. I am yet to find a provision in their laws that allows extrajudicial whipping of people merely because they littered or they chew garment. The people who say that they have the evidence or that they live there and there's something like
Somebody
that.
actually quoted a law.
No,
somebody sent you a law.
Somebody sent
Somebody
a text message
posted
saying
and
that
mentioned
it's
a
part of
particular
criminal
code,
code.
something.
They should furnish the entire provision to us.
But you can search for it.
No, because I'm doing that. I've not found that one yet.
Look for Singapore Criminal Code.
Because it's a common law jurisdiction. Just get up and beat
Yeah,
up
but
people.
common law jurisdiction doesn't mean that all the laws there are.
No, I understand.
They are
that.
different kind
I
of
understand that. You see, Singapore's laws, just like ours, generally modeled around what the UK does,
Yes, but
or
the
England
specific
does.
law.
No, yes. So that's what
The
I'm saying.
specific law can be there, even though I agree with you. The common law is the principles, but the specific law can say that.
I've just said that. I have read through what should generally be available. I've not found one yet. So if the person has that information, respectfully, the person can make it
But
available.
I can say that at least, and I'm bearing what my colleague told me, that she was in Singapore in
2 months ago.
Yes, and she said that it was read to them
that
when you do certain things, this is the punishment.
The punishment is.
In fact, he said it's even written. He said it's even written.
When you get on, when the flight is about to land,
They said they told them.
they will tell you.
They should make it available.
Yeah,
No,
so
you just take a trip.
yeah, so maybe we should go to Singapore.
Take a trip. When you are landing,
The way you are talking, you even go again.
For all
You don't even go again. That's like those.
for all you know, the
So you
person.
limit your travel to common law.
No, hold on. For all you know, for all you know,
Yes.
the person who was talking at the. It's one thing officials talking anyhow at the entry
Oh
point.
no. The Singapore one there's been done. It's multiple
I am
reports.
saying, Bernard.
No,
that's
no.
why I'm saying that. Look, it is not.
This guy, we can't sit here and give you the law now.
But no,
I
so
can't
it
give you
means-
one now.
we are.
There are videos
Go ahead.
of Medina Zongo Junction earlier. This is 30th March 2021. We're seeing people cross the road instead of use the footbridge when the place was cleared. We're seeing officials making a gentleman kneel down
Okay,
by
kneel
the
down.
pavement. Some were made to sweep.
Do we have videos of people being
Some are
beaten
doing
on site?
Adanko as
Do we
we
have? Do we?
oh.
Is it my argument was beaten? Do you have people being beaten on site?
Yes.
Where's the
If you
evidence?
supply it,
Where's the evidence?
the video you shown me is people kneeling down and things. No problem. Kneel down, fine. It's corporal punishment. No problem. You see,
The situation was so that it was even the subject of our colleague Samson Ladia in this program.
No,
He did a whole take on it. Why Samson doesn't see the law?
No, Godfrey, we are not saying that. We are saying
It's
that.
the name of
So what
the
was
case.
he talking about then?
You see,
Bernard, I remember this point because when you interviewed him on Point of View,
Yes.
you asked him about his modus operandi because people had questioned how lawful some of it was.
But did I
So
specifically
there must be a justification for which people raise that. But yes, an experience I want to share.
Go ahead.
You know, I was doing the war against indiscipline. I was the main reporter doing the war against indiscipline point, you see. And through the war against indiscipline, we managed to create some sense of responsibility and discipline amongst people.
Yes.
There was a bit of restraint when people were driving on the road because people knew there was consequence for bad behavior. And so you will go through the legal process. You didn't even want the fact that it will waste your time so much. In fact, for a lot of people, they preferred they could have even paid a sport fine and just move on to do what they wanted to do. So the fact that the police could arrest you and you will have to go to the police, the court, be processed for court and go through all that delay, people would just do the right thing for certain reasons. Now, you also found out that a lot of people attempted to circumvent the process.
Correct.
So much much of the resistance and the pushback was because people felt that by their status and who they were, they could challenge the system, have their way around and not have to do it. So the reason why we're against the discipline, though it was effective, we are no longer doing it today, is because some big people who know the law better feel that they don't want to submit themselves to the law. So today we are not doing war against indiscipline, and indiscipline on our roads have increased. And Abraham Amaliba will tell you that between January and March this year, the road crashes we have experienced has gone up compared to last year.
Correct.
And fatalities in places like Kumasi have increased,
which means
even
that
though
the
Accra
lawlessness
has reduced.
is not necessarily just for the low level.
Yes.
Your point even confirms my view.
That's what I'm coming
you see,
to.
generally, you
Yeah.
are unleashing violence on people of a certain class.
Yes.
Because they are voiceless.
Yes.
War against the discipline, you notice, and you know, Caleb used to do something. When he moves to the people, they don't know he has a camera. So usually the police stops the guy. And they say, hey, Matthew, then Caleb says, so what is the problem? They say, I'm just driving. And the guy said, now, when Caleb is doing the interview, his cameraman is like 200 meters out
And
behind.
he has the evidence now.
So Caleb's interaction, they are basically telling him that, they were just driving small. No, the guy catch them. These are all educated people who are breaking the law. Okay. And I think it's a very important point that imagine if the police, when they catch people, they just start beating them.
Beating you.
That we've told people to drive on the right, we're not driving. So we should. I think that point has to be done away with.
Yes.
I just think that, again, the Henry Cote situation, fine. I wasn't where he was throughout his tenure. Caleb, the media in Ghana covered this a lot.
Where is the evidence?
If Henry Cote's tenure was characterized by abuse of people's rights in a widespread manner,
The claim was that he supervised.
there would have been more reportage on that. Generally, I'm coming. Generally, listen to
let's
my.
not do this.
No, listen to my.
No,
listen to my.
Bernard, let's not even go there.
No,
let's not do that this morning. Let's not do that this morning.
Bernard. No, wait.
Bernard.
Generally, I'm coming.
Bernard.
Generally, the coverage of Henry Cote's work, generally, in the
This
media.
was in a very specific reference. You see,
Yes, I'm
let's
saying that-
not
no, I'm
mix
coming.
what he did.
No, Geoffrey,
When
no.
you spoke about the onion market,
I am saying that
I completely
his
agree with you.
approach was not an approach of
lashing.
we are trying to people are you see, the reason I'm bringing Henry Cote, people are trying to use Henry Cote to justify what the guy is saying.
Bernard, I'll read something. I like what this is from 14th March 2020.
Okay.
I like what the policemen are doing at Madina Zongo Junction, stopping pedestrians from crossing the road instead of using the footbridge. The stubborn ones too are receiving hot lashes.
Who put that there?
The people who are there, there are videos.
Can make those claims.
What are you talking about?
Okay, no problem.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying
Are
that-
we suddenly now
No,
going to
no,
say
I'm
that
not
the
saying-
people
I'm
who
not-
send us messages
I'm not trying
they
to
don't have eyes,
sanitize-
they lie?
You don't get what I'm
Because
saying.
somebody's reputation here.
No, I'm not even going there. I'm saying that
Then there are a lot of things we should stop making reference to.
was there widespread abuse of people's rights under Henry Cote's tenure?
No,
That's
there
what I'm
was
saying.
no. But
The claim
no.
was
But if you want to make that comparison, has anybody's rights been abused in Kumasi now, as we speak?
We are talking
was
about.
threatened
No,
Hold on.
No, but,
No.
we are talking
Between
about-
what Henry Cote did at Madina Zongo,
yes.
footbridge,
Which I do
and what
not-
has happened in Kumasi,
Yes.
where has there been an egregious abuse of rights?
No problem. I'm saying.
Hold on. Let him answer
I'm
the
saying that
question.
Henry Cote.
Hold on.
Henry Cote did many things. Henry Cote was a great Accra regional minister, and I have given you incidents of what I saw him do.
Yes, and
Which
I have agreed
was
with you.
okay. And I'm saying that it is possible that rights were abused.
And in this particular situation that we are talking about,
Fair enough.
the Madina Zongo one,
Yes.
there was lashing.
I can't disagree with
I
that.
have not disagreed with you on the good work
Correct.
that he did on other places.
Then we are on the same
point.
point.
Yes,
Then we are on
but
the same
I am
point.
saying that if we are accusing, we cannot say that Henry Cote, who actually supervised that,
Yes.
and the person who has said it but has not done are the same people.
No, in his first public, you see, that's the thing. It's a good point we are making. We are comparing two things. So number one, I agree with you that we shouldn't compare somebody's.
whitewash it.
No, hold on. We shouldn't compare somebody's intended action with what somebody has actually done.
Yes.
But that's number two. We should also not in the same way equate somebody's first public speech to somebody who had many discourses with the public and his rhetoric.
I understand you on
Because
that.
that rhetoric also signals his approach. So in the same way that we cannot overemphasize what somebody has said against what evidence or somebody has done, which you have, I agree. Somebody
Allegedly,
spent time.
that's-
Somebody no, Sky, I'm with him. Somebody spent time engaging the public on what he wanted to do, as against somebody's first speech. First public speech after he, of course, when he was when he gave a speech. So we both of us have to take take each other's views.
I'm not fighting with you on that at all.
Bernard, you see,
So we move on. Susu, let me hear Susu.
no, Bernard,
see,
let me hear Susu.
Let me hear Susu. Before Susu comes. See,
I and Godfred have agreed to disagree.
No.
We are okay.
You see,
Let
hold
me
on.
hear
You
Susu.
see, because there's a reputational issue here.
We have dealt with that matter.
No.
He has read. He has shown. Sky. Let's not overemphasize it.
Bernard, no, please. It's important. No, it is
People have shared videos of what happened at Zongo Junction.
Bernard, it is
If somebody thinks the video is
No, you
false,
see,
they should
hold
come
on,
and counter
hold on.
It
Bernard,
happened
let's distinguish-
under
Hold
his
on.
jurisdiction
There-
as regional
no,
minister.
There was
Simple.
a claim that he supervised the lashing of people.
Fair enough.
That's
It's a choice of words.
No, Bernard.
He was the regional minister when people were beaten.
Hold on.
Whether he was the
I want
one
to
who
hear Sky.
directly
Hold on.
supervised it
Hold
or
on.
not.
I want to hear Sky on this.
Yes.
when you say that you mention the person's name and you suggest that he personally supervised a certain unlawful conduct,
Yeah.
you must have the evidence to back that.
Good.
Now, where you don't have the evidence, and you make that direct and public claim,
Fair enough.
right? The person is entitled, whichever way he chooses,
I understand
to
you.
deal with the
But you
matter.
see,
That's why I'm saying
the
that.
context.
Look,
I get
we
it.
are all professionals
Yeah,
here,
but the
sitting
context
here.
is very clear. Under the Henry Quarter era, Onion Market was congested. Madina Zongo Junction was also cleared.
Yes.
In clearing Madina Zongo Junction, there's video evidence that people were beaten.
So you can.
So you can say that under his jurisdiction and oversight of the Madina Zongo Junction
During the
project,
period.
people were beaten.
Hold on,
whether
hold on,
he
hold on.
whether he directly supervised it or not, I agree with
Hold on.
you. We can't say that.
Hold
It's
on.
clear. Let's not nitpick,
Hold on.
please. Let's move on.
Bernard,
Yeah, I
it is
came
no,
here-
Bernard.
I
Hold
came
on,
here-
Bernard. There is a direct distinction to
Yes.
be made between
Yes.
you sitting here,
Yes.
we doing analysis,
Yes.
and then you supervising us insulting someone.
I get it.
As opposed to you
Happened
being the
under
host.
my leadership.
Yeah. Yes. Under your leadership
Yes.
as the head of the breakfast show.
Yes.
We are having a discussion. You are not necessarily
So
here.
you are basically between active and passive. I agree with you.
So because it involves someone's
I agree
reputation.
with
When
you,
you
but-
say I
yeah, but
supervised
you see-
the beating of someone,
The-
I stood there,
Yeah.
or I even ordered it.
Fine.
Or when it came to my attention,
So-
I did very little or nothing to actually deal with the
Sky,
people involved.
Sky, the operative word is active supervision.
Yes.
Or happen under the person's oversight.
Can I just?
So let's not over nitpick on
You
this.
see,
Let me
first
hear
of
you.
all,
Somebody's reputation.
it started from late March. If you look at the videos, late March is when the initial kneeling down and lashing incident started.
Yeah.
And then
This
there's
is 2020.
This is 2021.
Okay.
Then the last mention of it is there's an interview with one of the city guards in June where he says that we'll continue to lash people if they don't use their footbridge. I understand what Sky is saying, but you can't tell me that from the end of March, April, May, June, lashing was happening. The regional minister was asleep for 3 months. And we can't say he's not responsible.
Yeah.
At a certain
was the
point,
leader of the region.
at a certain point, you have to. There has to be
Let's
some
not. Sky,
responsibility.
I'm not. Sky, let's stay on point. Guy,
I can forgive you, a lawn lawyer.
it doesn't matter.
No, that's okay.
You are saying that.
No. I say this with all the respect
I
I
know,
can
but you
command.
see, you're also saying that because under Henry Court, it's under me. So under my
You
supervision,
can say.
the show is
Order.
the show.
Honorable
The
members.
show is degenerating.
out of order.
You can say that.
I can be accused of supervising lawlessness.
Bernard, I don't want to be sleeping and you call me.
That's what.
That Henry Corte has done ABC.
He won't do that.
So you come and sit in the because I am no.
I will call you. When he does, I will call you.
I don't want to.
When he does, I will call you.
Because it is.
Guy,
I am
guy,
issuing that caveat.
We have accepted.
on
We
air.
have emptied the caveat. But you see,
So don't say that because
Sky,
it happened under his
Sky,
tenure.
Sky,
He supervised.
Sky,
There are two clear
Sky,
things.
Sky, you see,
Supervision,
Sky,
you can
Sky,
find the meaning
Sky.
of supervision.
the principle.
Supervise means that you took active interest in making sure that a particular result is attained.
The principle of this show is
Yes.
that everybody has equal right to express their view.
Which is, yes,
You say forcefully that.
with all the strength and command I can.
But
Yeah.
the young man has also provided evidence.
which does not satisfy the requirement of supervision.
Hold on.
It only happened
Sky,
under his tenure, he's alleged.
Yeah, he didn't say
It's
that.
not alleging. It happened under his tenure.
Yes.
At the very least, he's
So
negligent.
why
At the very least.
why are you trying to?
What did I take issue
Sky,
with?
take your time.
Godfrey's claim that the man supervised.
We have dealt with that. But Susu's point was that it happened under his tenure.
They are two different things.
We agree.
So he didn't supervise?
You see, Sky, the thing,
Because
at
at
the
least
very
he didn't
least,
condemn
at
it.
the very least, he was negligent in the matter. Because you can't tell me
You
that
see, what Susu
for
saying-
3 months this was
Have you
happening.
found the meaning of supervised?
Oh, I'm saying at the very least, he was negligent. That's what I'm saying.
Because
at
under
the
his
very
tenure
least, for
as the
3
mayor
months, they were
of the
lashing
regional
people in
minister,
Madina.
it happened. We have to agree. and accept that. Whether he was the one, so we will take your voice, review. He didn't actively supervise it, but it happened under his program.
For at least
So
3
you can even
months.
say that ultimate responsibility for the region falls under him.
And he allowed it to happen
it's
for
okay.
at least 3 months.
Yes.
At least 3 months. They were lashing poor Madina Zongo Junction.
Which is interesting though, but I also find interesting that it's only Medina that people are referencing. I'm not sure if there are other places.
you see-
Because a lot of, this is the other reason, there were many interventions in the
Yes.
Nkote issue.
Yeah.
There was the onion market, there was the scrap dealers issue, then there was the Medina Zongo issue, and there were other places.
Yes.
So far, most of the complaints about corporal punishment was for the Medina one.
Yes, because of the kind of place it is and the kind of solution they wanted.
Which also justifies the point that generally his approach was different, although there were abuses.
Yes.
Generally, we can live with that. Okay, we are not here to
Which-
to whitewash anybody
Yeah,
or also to go back to the past.
I
me,
just
that's not
want to
even an
make a
issue.
point.
But you see, the reason this is vexatious is that a lot of Ghanaians are frustrated with the dysfunction in the city, and we all want things to get better. What I think we should do is that as citizens too, we have to be responsible. As citizens in the media too, we have to let people know that there are certain things you cannot do. Okay. Whilst we spend energy discussing what one man has said, people have been breaking the law for many, many months. We should also spend time talking about that. Because you see, when you become a duty bearer, it becomes much, much tougher. Because you realize that you mean well for the people and they are simply not moving. The justice system is slow. So we have to encourage more courts, better lawyers. Let's get more systems in place for redress. That's how you build a society. Okay? If we all use our instinct and frustration to solve the problem based on the easiest way to go, nobody will have peace in the country. So I'm just saying to Ghanaians that the same energy we are using to also text and say we agree or disagree, let's also talk to people. Because as Caleb keeps reminding you, engineering, enforcement, education. The education one is very critical. And a lot of the people listen to the radio. If every radio station will say, for example, we're against the discipline, it doesn't even have to cameras. We can say, spend the first 3-4 minutes, like the way we do sometimes, talk about traffic rules, how people behave. You know, because it's a lot of, it's called moral suasion. The citizens need to be shown, even TV, show them pouring refuse. Social media. For example, there are certain people who now, when people pour rubbish in the gutter, they put it on their tweet and they make it go viral. These things help. I feel like society can be built when we all collectively come together to work. I don't think he will repeat this thing he said, based on at least some of the reactions that have come. We can live with it.
We have to watch him closely.
Yeah, we will.
But I want to say something small.
Let me give you the last word. It's okay. Let me give you
I
the
don't
truth.
say something small.
Yeah.
The only reason we talked about Madina, you guys were discussing. So when I went to do the research, I focused on Madina. I didn't look at the other places. So if we look at some of the other places he did things, we might find that this was happening as well.
will help the
But
discourse.
the Madina, at least, because that's what you guys were discussing, and there was a back and forth about whether it happened or not.
All right, we'll take a
That's
short
not
break.
I just-
We'll be right back.
Brother,
We'll be right back.
brother.
We have a lot of comments we will read. We have a few laws that have been sent to us to enrich the discussion. We want to thank those of you who sent them. So, Caleb, please help us this morning.
Good morning, City CBS.
Morning.
Please, I think beating people to enforce the law is wrong. Rather, the mayor should make sure the task force in Kumasi works actively. Robert Sender through. Now, before my flight to Singapore landed, we had leaflets. One thing I found interesting is that anyone with chewing gum had to declare it while in the country. I checked for myself if it was true that chewing gum wasn't sold in Singapore by asking at least 7 shops and all the other grocery shops for bubble gum. There was none available. I was categorically told that it was impossible to buy gum in SG. It is also true that if you overstayed your visa, you'll be lashed on your butt, jailed and deported. It's an awesome country. Ni Odoe from Achose.
So, no, I just want to say something. But I asked for specific information, and the people, I got the act in question. The act doesn't say that when you wee on the streets in Singapore, the police officer beats you up. No. You are arrested, processed in a court of law, defended by lawyers of your choice, and when there's a finding of guilt, and the court proceeds then to give an order in line with the law that it should be caned, then that takes effect. But there are exceptions to it.
So it's
So
not
let's not
arbitrary.
make sweeping
It's not
statements.
arbitrary.
Exactly.
But at least
Growing
the
up-
law says you will be
Yes.
lashed. at the end of the process.
Yes. So let's not compare the two.
Okay.
We do.
We are not the
We
same.
do.
Council, thank you.
We do.
Now, growing up in my hometown of Georgia, I recall how effectively our local town council managed animal control. However, stray animal, I'm sure you want to say. However, it's disconcerting to see that here in Accra, the nation's capital, stray cattle are now competing with vehicles for space on our roads. Good morning, Bernard.
Morning.
Bernard, good morning. I agree perfectly with the mayor. The managers of our country need to be tough. Otherwise, over time, the country will be engulfed with filth and lawlessness. Enjoy the rest of your day. You need add your name. Moses from Abokobi says, I'm very disappointed with Akoto. We won't go back to the PNDC era.
Nice.
If you want to do your job as a mayor, follow the law. The Singapore issue he's talking about was in their law, and the caning wasn't instant. One has to be convicted by the court.
But that wasn't even the point I was making about Singapore. What the point I made about Singapore wasn't about caning. People should listen carefully a bit sometimes. The point I made about Singapore was the difficult decisions that were made in the development of and the growth of that country and the capital itself.
All right. Fair enough. More comments?
Caleb, please take a walk with Bernard through CMB all the way to Rollins Park and its environs, and he would understand the beating part. Ghanaians are too lawless, and most of the times beatings are the least that comes to mind. I'm Pofowa from Adenta. The reality is that some of these people can be very brutal and ruthless, even in the face of law. You know, so
Charlie?
I'm engaged with these people small, so people should be careful. Bernard and team, good morning.
Morning.
Please allow the mayor to do his work. Ghanaians are very indisciplined, and that's one of the means to handle them. But you are not one of us. Okay, he's writing from Lejokuku, Moses Agboji Segbefia. Okay, Bernard.
Yes.
For the first time in 10 years, I disagree with you.
Okay.
The mayor, okay. I won't read the rest. Bernard, I second the mayor's ideas. People are not behaving like people, as if they are the only people who need money to survive. The law thing is killing our communities, and it seems like a little force is needed.
It is
The
lawlessness that is killing us. Law is to help us. Anybody who tells you the law thing is killing us is either misunderstands the law
Yes.
or themselves are lawless.
Thank you.
The law is supposed to help you. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to kill you.
Sharp.
Ayo.
Ashama.
The traders.
Okay. This one says the traders Henry Cote drove away around the Accra Mall are now coming back gradually, and the leaders are looking on unconcerned. In fact, there's a bus terminal now around that side.
Charlie, that place has
And when
become
you
a
walk
mess.
past, the urine that will choke you,
In fact-
people are urinating in that prime area of Accra.
In fact, there's the green space.
Charlie,
The one
Sky.
immediately next to the runabout,
Sky.
where you see police officers.
Oh, Lord.
Just across. They've converted that whole space to a market of some kind.
We are not
People are
enforcing the
selling
law.
shoes,
I told you
they
this a
are
month ago.
kinky, wache, all kinds of things are being sold.
They've destroyed the place.
Just next to someone's
High-rise.
high-rise building, which they are quoting
Millions of-
opportunities for.
and
so
most
when
of the
you stand
time-
on your balcony,
You see, and what people don't normally get is the value of high rise sometimes also includes the view. So you've charged me $1.2 million
I'm watching
for a
people
view,
urinate.
and I'm watching somebody piss. Mate insulting somebody
Oh, Ghana. Charlie.
for the $1.2 million.
The mayor is right, and I support his action 100%. If that is what will yield results, then so be it. You didn't add your name. But this one, I don't know how to go about it. It said Ashama. Unless beating so. Police, they have passed that level. Bernard, give us the solution.
He's having two
He's
emojis.
laughing.
It's not
He's
easy.
laughing. Please, Bernard, stop what you are doing.
Yo.
The discipline on our streets is just too much.
Yo.
See what is happening in our secondary schools. That is why I like, you're okay. Louise at Santor.
That's why he likes what?
Military rule.
Ayo.
A Kenyan tourist who has been interviewed in the beautiful streets of Kenya said Accra is a chaotic city. Echo from Tema.
Julian
That
from
one-
Dansoman says, hello, Bernard. You should beat them.
Okay.
Ghanaians are too stubborn. I just got back from Ivory Coast and I was shocked. Abidjan is so neat. The way they have integrated their numerous water bodies with the city. All street lights working. No street hawking. No street begging. The business center plateau. Oh gosh, Bernard, I can go on and on and on. Ghana, we are slacking behind. We need to wake up from our sleep. Let him beat them.
CBS Steve, good morning. Come to Abekala Pass and see how traders have taken over walkways and
So did
bus
the beating
stops.
result in street lights?
Yeah, as if the space is for them. Such hawkers should be beaten for them to know what's wrong. In the evening, the median is taking over completely and forcefully, and they force the pedestrians to use the main road. This is so true. Good morning, Bernard. I think most people support what the mayor said because we've tried the solutions in the constitution, and none of them have yielded good results. You can't go to Bema camp and litter anyhow because you know what will happen to you. Sky, you know? Bernard, I vehemently disagree with you on how Lagos achieved its enforcement of laws on cleanliness to become what it is now. I hope you know the typical behavior of the average citizen in Nigeria. Do you think it was achieved by enforcing democratic laws and no one's rights, so-called, was infringed in the process? Talk to Fashola and come again. The average Ghanaian is indisciplined. If you do the same thing, you get the same results. Jesse from Sakumono. Sky, good morning. I completely disagree with the... Okay, Bernard, I completely disagree with you. The discipline is too much. It's overwhelming. Okay, I think I've read Jones already.
Let me do two messages here.
Yes, please.
Bernard, for many out there, the real struggle is not about breaking the law. It's about breaking bread for their children. Yes, hawking and selling on pavements may be against the law, but asking them to move without offering a better option is enforcing the letter of the law while betraying its spirit. Leadership must not only uphold laws, it must understand lives. Let me read this again. Bernard, for many out there, the real struggle is not about breaking the law, it's about breaking bread for their children. Yes, hawking and selling on pavement may be against the law, but asking them to move without offering a better option is enforcing the letter of the law while betraying its spirit. Leadership must not only uphold laws, it must understand lives. I really like this message. Then there's another one from a lawyer, and he's correcting the point on the livestock. He says there is no law that stray cattle must be eaten by prisoners. Clearly, the Kumasi Mayor is ignorant and will not even seek legal advice. This is not one for anyone. Section 300 of the Criminal Offences Act 29, 1960, stray cattle. 1. Impounding stray cattle. If cattle are found wandering in a public place without a handler, a peace officer or health officer can impound them in a public pound. 2. Owner's responsibility. The owner must pay the cost of keeping the animal based on specific daily rates before reclaiming them. 3. Sale of unclaimed cattle. If the owner doesn't pay within 4 days, the animal may be sold after a 6-day notice, either posted publicly or delivered to the owner if known. 4. Proceeds of sale. After deducting expenses, the remaining proceeds go to the accountant general and the owner can claim them within 12 months. 5. Penalty for negligence. Anyone responsible for cattle found straying in public without supervision is guilty of a criminal offense. Criminal offense. Punishable by a fine of up to 5 penalty units. It's a criminal offense to allow your cattle to stray. Scope of law. This section applies to cattle, sheep, and goats in a list of specified towns, including Accra, Kumasi, Cape Coast, Tamale, Takoradi, and others, with potential for expansion by ministerial order. Those supporting the lawlessness, now this is the text comment. Those supporting the lawlessness should show me which law supports what the minister is proposing. Let's stop glorifying lawlessness.
So I was explaining to Akoto much earlier.
Thank you.
He was telling me about the challenge with his space.
So
I was explaining.
There's a nightclub.
There's
a brothel. There's a cattle ranch.
He himself can arrest the animal
and then keep it.
Take it to the police.
And then the police will
do the necessary investigation.
The cost of impounding will charge it
because they are destroying his.
And then they can auction it after 6 days.
And then he will be.
The point I want.
But he asked me whether he should use his money.
Let me end with my favorite message.
Okay.
People will advocate for brutality until the day they become the victims of what they advocate for. That's what he has said, and I'll end with that.
No. Just give me 30 seconds if you don't mind. Could you give me 30 seconds?
Top up.
Yes. The truth also is that our cities are not growing.
Yes.
Our cities are not living up to their full potential.
At all.
Now, we can decide to accept our cities the way they are, or we can decide to improve. What is pretty clear is that our neighbors and their cities are leaving us behind.
True.
What happens is that once cities stop growing, the potential in those cities start finding other places to fulfill that potential. So either our major cities, Accra, Kumasi, Takrady, find ways of living up to its potential, or people will start moving to other places where that potential can be fulfilled.
Thank you.